In the previous video, we mentioned that there are 5 types of additional mud. The first 2 were explained, which were additional mud followed by hamza. This video will explain the remaining 3 types of mud, which are mud followed by sukun or shaddah. The first of these is called mad lazim or compulsory mud. This is when a mud letter comes before a letter with sukun or shaddah and they are both in the same word. This type of mud must be pulled for 6 counts. For example, in this word, the mud letter of alif comes before the letter ja with shaddah. Hence, the mud letter is pulled for 6 counts. حَاجَّهُ. Another example is one we recite often. It comes at the end of Surah Al-Fatiha. The mud letter of alif comes before the letter lam with shaddah, so it needs to be pulled for 6 counts. وَلَضَّالِّينَ. The second type of mud that is followed by sukun or shaddah is called mad aridi, which is the mud that is exposed to sukun. This mud occurs when you choose to stop at a word and the final letter becomes sukun. If the letter before that final letter is a mud letter, then it needs to be elongated for 2 to 6 counts. For example, when stopping at this word, the final letter, which is na, bears a sukun. The letter before it is a mud letter, so it needs to be pulled for 2 to 6 counts. يَخْتَصِمُونَ. Another example is in this word. The final letter becomes sukun when stopping, so the mud letter of ya before it needs to be pulled for 2 to 6 counts. سَاجِدِينَ. This type of mud is only valid if you are stopping at a word and changing the final letter to sukun. The third and final type of mud that is followed by sukun or shaddah is mad lin, which is the mud of softness. This mud occurs when you stop at a word where the vowel letter before the final letter is either waw sakin or ya sakin, and it is preceded by a fatha. This type of mud is pulled for 2, 4, or 6 counts. For example, when stopping at this word, the final letter is changed from ni to nun sakin. The letter before that is a ya sakin preceded by a fatha letter. Hence, you apply the mad lin. وَشَفَتَيْن. Another example is at the end of this ayah of Surah Al-Quraysh. If you are stopping, the shin will change to shin with sakin. The letter before it is a ya with sakin, preceded by a letter with fatha. Hence, you would apply mad lin and say, لِإِيلَافِ قُرَيْشٍ. If you choose not to stop, then you would not apply mud. You would say, لِإِيلَافِ قُرَيْشٍ إِيلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ, and so on. Encourage the students to use their fingers to count how long they are pulling each mud. Talk to them about the importance of consistency in the length of pulling for each mud. Once we decide on the number of counts to pull a particular type of mud, we should remain consistent with that for the recitation of the whole page. So for example, if I decide to stretch mad aridi, or the mud that is exposed to sukun, for 3 counts, since it's anything between 2 and 6, then I should stretch all the mad aridi on that page for 3 counts. Consistency is key. Please remember that the students do not need to know the technical names of the different mud as long as they understand the rule and are able to identify and apply it. That is enough.